Shalom, shalom. Tuesday. Welcome to our Tuesday live. Today's lesson is going to be called Enjoy Life More by Doing This. Should have put a comma after more, huh? I might edit that later. But first and foremost, giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we do so by way of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who we see as an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? Um, and so today's lesson is going to be I think, an edifying one. Got a little video that we're going to share, and then we're going to jump straight into some precepts, right? Let's see here. Oh yeah, man. I just want a quick praise report, man. Well, before I get a praise report, I want to say, hey man, hey y'all, if we had two lessons on yesterday, both of them really good. Y'all go see them. Um, I was gonna do a part two to the brother Obadiah's lesson, which was over being apt to teach, right? I went back and watched his whole video, and the brother said everything y'all need to know about being apt to teach. So I encourage y'all to go watch it. And it's just the spirit, man. I I had it in my notes ready to bang out this today. You know what I'm saying? And the brother beat me to it, man. All praises, right? All praises. You can't complain about that. But it was a very good lesson, man. Uh, for everybody in the in our camp though, man, I'll send the clip that I was gonna post in the chat later on, man. Also, praise report, man. Not to be too long winded here, but today, man, my almost ruined my truck. Not me, but somebody else did. I went to go get my truck serviced last week. And it's real funny because I go to Express Oil, and it was a trainee doing my service this time. And at first I really wanted to, like, stick my head out the window, like, hey, look, no offense, but can I get somebody that knows what they doing? But I kept it to myself. I seen there was a young Jake in there, man. You know what I'm saying? To make a long story short, at the end of it all, I felt eerie. I should have did the man thing to do, and that was to double check behind the brother. I could tell he was kind of having a hard time, and he was kind of unsure about himself, but I didn't check. And so for the last week, man, I've been smelling a bunch of different smells coming from under the hood, from the coolant. I've been smelling like a fire has been like a candle was just blown out. It's been smelling like burnt rubber, stuff like that. Finally, I took it to the shop, man. Before I took it to the shop, I lifted the hood, and as I lifted the hood, I tried to inspect as best as I could, but I didn't see nothing wrong, and I don't know why, right? But I got it to the shop, and as soon as I opened the hood, the mechanic said, "I know what your problem is," and he kind of like did this number right here, and he was pointing to the front of the truck. Tell me why this guy, the trainee, the young brother, bless his heart, he didn't put any of the caps back on any of the reservoirs that he topped off, right? So the oil cap was off, the coolant cap was off, some other caps was off too, and they was all just lined up at the front. Keep in mind, I've been driving for about a week, bro. So I'm trying to figure out how they even stayed there. You know what I'm saying? And then also, man, my engine started making a little weird noise, and the dude was telling me that it was probably because the oil had all splashed out, and as I was driving over the week, and then some trash might have got in there, and so all praises, I caught it early because it really could have ended up pretty bad, and it didn't really cost me that much to fix it. It was a brother that looked out for me downtown Fort Valley. All praise for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Could have ended up really, really, really bad with me without a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? So quick little praise report. You know what I'm saying?
You would have got a vehicle because you would have took it back, and they would have filed a claim. They would have fired Buddy, and they would have coughed up that money for a new engine.
Yeah, man. You know, it was kind of crazy, man. Underneath my hood, like a mess too. But the guy cleaned it up as best as he could, though. You know what I'm saying? But it looked a mess as I really looked in there. Oil everywhere, coolant everywhere. You know, just it was bad. You know what I'm saying? But all praises, we got that handled and fixed, and my car back running the way it should be, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's life in captivity. You know what I'm saying? It's always something, but it kind of goes good with this video, man. I mean, well, this lesson that we're going to be talking about today. Let me share my screen real quick. And the first thing we're going to do is play a video. Give me 1 second, though. Salaki, man, I got to check on my daughter. She kind of went silent. Yeah, 1 second. Salaki. We back. All righty, man. Let me see. Mike, yeah, let's see. All right, about to play it. Let's go. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Contentment is being okay with the things that I cannot change. That's, I think, key point number one. Having peace with where you were born, the things that you really have no control over. Your skin color, whether you have hair or don't have hair, whether your height.
Yeah.
I mean, all these, you can go down the list, genders and whatever you want, right? Being content with the things that God gave you is probably paramount and key step number one. Complacency is the part where it's like you're choosing to not change the things that you do have control over. That's complacency. And I think it's important to make sure, and I'm bringing up complacency and contentment because those are, to me, the two things that we talk about when it comes to peace of mind. And no matter who you are, what background you're coming from, what numbers you have behind your name in terms of your bank account and wealth and all the things we talk about in the money world, which is what we do, the happiest clients I have would likely not be the wealthiest or richest clients that most people would say they must be happy. The happiest, most joyful clients I have something, this fourth thing that we are all trying to find. They have peace. Contentment is being.
So that's the word for today, man. Is contentment, right? He mentioned two things. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick, man. He mentioned two things that I want to touch on: contentment and complacency, right? His difference was contentment is what you must have for the things that you can't control. And you guys have heard us before go over controlling what you can control, and the things that you can't control, let him be. But now he said something about complacency. He said that the difference is that complacency is falling victim to the things that you can control, or the choices that you can't control, but you don't do nothing about it, right? So the thing about the life that we live is we all understand that our paths and our journeys are dictated by the Most High, right? So at the end of it all, contentment is the key. It's really not. Now there's room for to have a discussion about complacency, but as far as what he was talking about, there's really the things, the places we end up, right? The things that happen to us, right? A lot of it we got to be content with. And I go to say, even you got to be content with your mistakes, right? You make a mistake. We talked about it a little bit today in our chat, right? Sister put in there beautiful statement, pretty much saying that, hey, look, a lot of times we can't blame the devil, right? Sometimes we got to blame ourselves, right? But even when knowing that it's ourselves doing it, we got to be content with whatever comes with that, because whatever decision we make, we got to count the cost, right? And if you're counting the cost before any decision you make, you should be content with the outcome. Right.
I was talking to my rib actually in the bed last night or the night before last night, and it was about the same exact thing that was sent in the group chat, like you said. We were just reminiscing on feast days and gatherings and certain Israelites that we used to be around, and looking at, just examining some of their lives now, how they had it so good, right? They had it so peaceful, and then they couldn't get out of their own way. And now their life is literally hell. It's a state of hell. And we were saying, man, it's crazy because those same people say stuff. It's almost like they turn into the Christian church, or not the Christian church, but Christianity. Like they'll start saying, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. The Most High just putting me through it right now. Like Job, no, sister, brother, you put yourself through it. Don't blame that on God. Don't blame that on the Most High, man. You got in your own way, and now you're living the consequences for your decisions.
Come on, man.
Salaki. Can I say something real quick, Ken? Yeah, I just want to make a quick statement. Yeah, man, and just when it comes to us, man, as a nation, we never want to be held accountable for the stuff that we do. We've been like that even in the ancient times. We never want to accept the stuff that we do wrong. Like, even to the point where we go out and teach. And, you may have some brothers, just going out and just blaming the heathen for us being in captivity. But when you go back and just truly read, it really was our fault because we broke the commandments of God. But we got to hold ourselves accountable, man. It's a scripture somewhere in the law. I want to say it's in Deuteronomy. I'll try to find it. We know when it's going into how, if we just hold ourselves accountable, right, just repent for the stuff that we did, right, the Most High hear our cries. But a lot of times we don't want to hold ourselves accountable. We want to point the finger at her, at him, at them, but we never want to look at ourselves and see what did we do to get in this situation, right? But you got it, King.
Come on, man. That's us. That's us in a nutshell, right? We want to do what we want to do, and then we don't want to face any consequences, right? Matter of fact, we want to make excuses for the decisions that we do make, right? And why we think it was valid to make that decision, even though at the end of the day, we all know some of the decisions that we make were, not the best, to say the least, right? This is Philippians 4:11, right? I'm gonna use this kind of as a staple precept for tonight. I think we're gonna read 11 and 12. If a brother could read this for me.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
Right. Let me see. Next verse. Yep. Go ahead.
Verse 12. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
Right, man. And so I bring this precept up because it really sparked me from a conversation this past weekend, right? And two older gentlemen kind of brought this up. He said he put it in perspective of being a man, though, right? And I have to agree with him. He said, man, you're a man. You've reached manhood when you've had multiple experiences. You've been high, you've been low, and you're at a point now where whether you're high or you're low, you still act the same, right? You're still content, right? Your character doesn't change. Your integrity isn't in question, right? And that's how you know you've walked into manhood, when you can carry the same character, same dignity, same integrity, no matter what stage of life you're in. You don't get too much money and start acting Hollywood. You don't become too poor. Start feeling sorry for yourself. Start checking out. Right. Stop showing up, not just for other people, but for yourself. Right. In any. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, King. You can finish your point.
No, I mean, I was just saying, in any form of life that you're in, you want to be able to stay consistent, right? And that's how you've reached manhood or just adulthood in general, right? You put away childish things. Go ahead, though.
I was saying, man, even just two people off the top of my head that I can just see them relating to this verse, is David and Job. Because you gotta think, brothers understood how it feel to, have like everything that you need. They felt that feeling of not having to want, but then they also felt that feeling of them being low and them being talked about and them just losing everything and they having to just praise the Most High and come back and praise the Most High even more and more. So I think as even in this walk, we have to understand that it's kind of like a roller coaster. This truth is kind of like a roller coaster. It's a season. Everything is a season. You may have one season when you up and everything going good. Then another season might come to where you just low, man. And now it's hard, things that are harder and harder. But that's how you have to know how you have to be long suffering and being content with the things that you have and have faith that the Most High is going to, in due time, bring you up out the situation.
You got, right, man. You mentioned David, man. One thing that came to mind was, when both his wives got stolen and they burnt the city with fire, when the Amalekites came through, right? And David, being who he is, which was a mighty king at the time. A lot of kings would have, not even think, not even hesitate. They would have went and got it back in blood immediately, right? David's integrity never changed. Neither did his character, because even through the midst of chaos, he still did what he would do when he was a shepherd boy, and that's go to the Lord first. What did he do when all that stuff happened? He was a king. He could have, as soon as it happened, he found out. He could have been like this is another time. Hey, this is probably like the umpteenth time I made this reference, but he could have been like the boys and paid in full, right? When Ace got shot and they went out immediately. We ain't asking no questions, right? When Money Making Mitch's son got killed, or his kid got kidnapped, he said, anybody that ever looked at me wrong, everybody's gonna die. He said he ain't asking no questions, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what David did, David could have done that. David could have done that. He was the king at the time. He all you have to do is press that button. But what he do, he kept his integrity, he kept his character, his dignity, and he went to the Lord first. He didn't let the power that he had overrule the real power in the earth, which was the Most High, right? Because at the end of the day, put it like this, the Most High, and it's gonna sound weird, but the Most High kind of wants us to be robots, right? What do I mean by that? He wants us to be like an action figure or a toy, like a toy soldier, right? You guys seen toy soldiers before? The little green plastic figures, right? And you can put that toy soldier at the beach. It's gonna be a toy soldier. You can take that toy soldier and put it outside in the rain. It's gonna be a toy soldier. You see what I'm saying? That toy soldier is gonna. You can take that toy soldier, right, and put him in China versus America. He's gonna be a toy soldier wherever you put that toy soldier, right? It's the same thing with us. The Most High is trying to see if we stay consistent, no matter where He put us, no matter what He put us through. Are we content? Are we still doing what we need to do, right? I would precept this, but I'll just go ahead and paraphrase. It precepts perfectly with putting your when he says nobody taking his hand off the plow is fit for the kingdom of God. Why? Because that precept wasn't prefacing, unless this happens to your life. That precept was, if you take your hand off the plow, no matter what's going on in your life, you're not fit for the kingdom of God, right? Because again, you're supposed to be that toy soldier, that plastic soldier that's not going to switch up no matter what. No matter what happens, your hands on that plow and you keep chipping away. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't, that's just a telltale sign that you might not be content with this truth. You might not be content with the Most High waking you up and counting it all joy for whatever happens. You might not be content with being a prisoner of Yahushua, right?
Con, can I pull a precept real quick?
Con, what you got?
Matthew 8:20. Matthew 8:20.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 8 and verse 20. It says, and reading as is, and Jesus saith unto him, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head.
Can you go to verse 19?
Matthew 8 and verse 19. A certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest.
Right. So this passage is pretty much explaining how there's going to be a lot of people that want to follow the Most High Son. And the thing is, the Most High Son, right? He's not going to just let anybody be a follower or a disciple. Christ is not gonna just sugarcoat this truth for you. Yahushua is not going to just, let you follow him blindly, right? That's why in verse 20, after a scribe said he wanted to be a follower, verse 20, he's saying, hey, I don't have no house, bro. He's saying, if you're gonna follow me, like you're gonna have to be a little uncomfortable. You're gonna have to, settle for the simple things in life. You're gonna have to be happy to just lay down on the ground under this tree. You know what I'm saying? That's true contentment. You know what I'm saying? And so Christ himself is letting you know, you want to be a follower of him, like you're not gonna have everything that you want in this life, right? You're not gonna have everything that you want in this world, especially following him, because he didn't. Right. And the last thing I'll say is, if you find yourself desiring too many things of this world, go on a fast. Because, any brother knows if you go on a fast, the last thing you're thinking about is, buying clothes and jewelry. You just thinking about food. You'd be like, man, I really would just be cool if I could just eat right now. Right. You start thinking about the simple things in life when you're on that fast. So that's something that you could do too. If too much you start feeling yourself being too carnal and wanting too much out of life. But Con, I yield.
Con, man, the brother brought up Christ, right? Christ was the ultimate toy soldier, right? That's a saying right there. Huh? Christ was the ultimate toy soldier. No matter what he was going through, where he was at, he stayed consistent. In the midst of a storm, everybody freaking out, thinking they about to die, he's sleeping like a baby. Why? Because he's content, right? He's confident in knowing that the Most High is controlling everything, and he's good, right? 3 Hebrew boys, content, right? You really being content with whatever God decides to do with your life. That's really where the contentment comes into play. What they say, whether we live or we die, we will serve the Lord, right? Anything can happen, but hey, at the end of the day, you stay consistent. Christ was on the cross, right? Or whether you thought he was on the cross or a stake or whatever, right? He stayed consistent. He was that toy soldier, right? That plastic toy soldier. You see what I'm saying? But awesome point there. We're gonna stay in the book of Matthew while you're playing. Let's go to Matthew 6. I got a few scriptures in Matthew 6 we about to go over, right? Matthew, we're gonna start with 1. All right. We can start with 1 and read down, and we're gonna read down to 4. If a brother want to read that real quick.
Come Matthew 6 and starting at verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
Right. I know you wondering why you bringing up giving alms, brother Denon, right? I'm gonna tie it in. Y'all just bear with me.
Con, therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Right.
But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth.
You can stop right there, right? Don't let your left hand know what your right hand do. Right. We're gonna go to verse. Let's scroll down to verse 16. What's it talking about in verse 16?
Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Read 17.
Verse 17, but thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face.
Why did I bring these? Go ahead. No, you can stop right there. Why did I bring these two accounts up? Right. One about giving alms, and the other one about fasting. They are two polar opposites in a sense. One, when you give alms, right? The Bible gives you wisdom, saying when you give alms, give it to those that are. It says don't give any alms to anybody that has more than you, right? It's for reasons that just make sense, right? So already, if you're giving somebody alms, typically what happens is like we have, on a food drive or whether it be a homeless event, right? Typically, you're giving down. Not saying you're like looking down at people, but what you're doing, you're taking your what you have and you're sharing it with somebody that might have less, right? And on the contrary, so you're kind of up there. You know what I'm saying? You kind of at a higher esteem when you're giving alms. In a sense, when you're fasting, you're mourning, right? We talk about being in sackcloth, right? Being very low. A lot of times when you fast and you don't feel your best, you know what I'm saying? You're starving, you're irritated, you know what I'm saying? You're rethinking life. So you're kind of at a low point. But what did the Most High encourage us to do in both circumstances? To not let our right hand know what our left hand is doing. When you're high, even if you're giving alms and this, that, and the third, do it, but do it as if you're not even giving from your possessions. You're just taking from the Most High possessions and giving it to a brother, right? You're not making him feel no type of way, like you're his daddy now. You know what I'm saying? You're not making him feel like he got to pay you back. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And when you're low, when you're fasting and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you're doing it with a cheerful heart. You know what I'm saying? Put a smile on your face. A lot of people go when they train at the gym. One thing they tell you when you train at the gym, hey, I know it's going to hurt. I know it's hard, but smile through the pain. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff is mental. A lot of things we do in life is mental. And you start smiling before you know it, it might still hurt, but it hurts less. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is you encourage other people around you. Think about it, you in the gym, you lifting these hard weights. It's hurting, but you got a smile on your face. People, the next guy that's after you, they got to do them same reps. He's looking like, dang, he kind of knocked them out kind of easy, right? I got to do the same thing. I got to make it seem like, it's not phasing me. Same thing in this life, right? When you're fasting, when you're at a lower state, what does your demeanor look like? Are you smiling through it? Because those that are around you in your environment that might be going through the same thing, or if not worse, they're looking like, dang, brother going through that, and he's smiling. You know what I'm saying? Same thing when you kind of high, right? You kind of not really flexing, you still kind of humble, still kind of meek. Brother's thinking like, okay, when I make it, I'm gonna act like buddy. You know what I'm saying? That looks really cool what he doing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where you want to be at, is that sweet spot and contentment, right?
Too. I like the fact that it says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand does. it's insinuating for you to forget that you even did it.
Con.
Right? Can you get this precept real quick before you move on? It's in Luke 6:35. Right? You should forget when you do alms or any charitable act, forget that you did it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know, they want to remember it for a year. Man, remember when I did that thing for that homeless dude? Remember when I did that thing for Buddy? Remember I did that thing for so-and-so? Right? Man, you're in the wrong spirit. Luke 6:35 says, but love your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great. So when you give to somebody, don't even expect to get it back, right? If they give it back to you, all praises.
They should. Right? You should kind of be like, you know, somebody come up to you, hey brother, you know, you remember when you gave me X, Y, and Z back in the day? And you're like, you sure that was me, Art? That's how you should be. You sure that was me, King? I did that. I don't know. It's not really ringing a bell, because you should be. It should be one. It should be second nature to give, you know what I'm saying, to those that might need it. Two, right? Like the brother said, you should be able to not let your left hand know from your right hand. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you're dealing with somebody's sins or transgressions that they repented from. You know what I'm saying? To not make mention it no more and try to forget it. You know, it's the same thing. So that's a great point.
Con, the end of this right here, it says, for he, the person that does this, is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. You gotta ask yourself, man, are you content with life to where you're kind to the unthankful and to the evil? Because the only way that you're able to be kind to people that are unthankful, ungrateful, to evil people, the only way that you could be kind to them is if you're content with your life. If you're not content with your life, you're gonna be kind of irritated with them. You're gonna be kind of mad. You're gonna be upset. You're gonna talk behind their back. So and so just thinks blah blah blah. So and so ain't even say thank you. They didn't even reach out. They ain't even pay me back. They ain't even. So you want to be this person when you're kind to the unthankful and to the evil, right?
Right. It's a wild card too, man. You become a wild card, and what happens is you take the upper hand, right? When you do stuff like that, the people that are on the contrary, they're looking at you and they're like, dang, well, you know, if I continue to, you know, be on bull junk, it's gonna make me look corny. It's gonna make me look like a bad person, right? For instance,
I also want to say this, right? It's a difference between being green and doing this, right? When you're green, you literally don't know you finna get scammed. You don't know that somebody's out to get you. You don't know what you're getting out of a deal when you're green. This ain't being green. This is knowing that you're not gonna get paid back. You're not gonna get the favor turn. You're not gonna get a thank you. This is different. So a lot of people in your corner are gonna look at you crazy, like the brother Denal just said. They're gonna look at you crazy, like, bro, why you keep doing that for so and so? Why you keep doing that for them, bro? They ungrateful. But you doing it because you're this type of person.
I wasn't even see. That's a great point too. I was kind of I wasn't even really talking about alms in a sense. I was just talking about treating people even when they treat you bad. You know what I'm saying? We all, well, probably not all of us, but you know, most men that might be watching this, you know, you kind of in the media and you hear about Shedeur Sanders and whatnot. And I think we all might have seen that clip where he's talking to that reporter, and he goes up to the reporter. His mans was on that type of time. You know, his man was ready to cuss Buddy out. And he's like, hold on, bro. He said, come on, man. He met him softly. He said, you know, what I got to do for you to say something nice about me? Why don't you never say nothing nice about me? He said, man, I ain't never did nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did I do to you? You know what I'm saying? Just kind of talking to the man nicely. And, you know, as an athlete, especially an athlete that's in the media, you know, that was the high road. That was the uncommon. That was a wild card, because typically people of his stature would have something to say to the reporter. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be nice. I kind of like his dad back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is you throw people off when you find a state of contentment and you can act that way towards your enemies. You know what I'm saying? Your real enemies at that. You see what I'm saying? When you know what you got, what you possess, right? The power, the confidence that you have the Most High God behind you, you're able to check out of acting. How can I say this? Aggressive, belligerent, because you know everything is a simulation, so to speak, that the Most High is orchestrating. And once you know that, man, you can just operate. You can go about life in a peaceful manner. You ain't never really seen Christ cuss out any heathens or anything like that, right? He knew their purpose. He knew what type of tendencies they had, and he moved accordingly because he was already content with the world that the Most High had made and the people he made in them. And he already knew his personnel. He knew who he was dealing with. Why waste your time getting worked up over people that, you know, don't necessarily mean you well, when you know at the end of the day they can't do nothing to you that the Most High don't allow them to, and they can't hinder anything that you got going on unless the Most High allows them to. You see what I'm saying? So you might as well just treat them kind too, right? Knowing that a lot of times it's not even them, it's the spirit that's on them that's doing those things, right? And so that's how you fight spiritually as well. Knowing that you have the confidence and know, like, hey man, especially if it's your brother or your sister, you know, like, hey man, I know it's a spirit on that brother. I know it's a spirit on that sister. And you know, they, whatever spirit it is, just trying to knock me off my block, get me out my character. But I'm gonna do like David, and I'm gonna go to the Most High, put on that ephod, right? Strengthen myself in the Lord. And then, you know what I'm saying, I can attack this situation full head on, right? I'm gonna go back to Matthew though. Let's go to Matthew 6 again, and then I want to hit a couple more verses in there. We're gonna go to verse 30, 31. Right? Somebody can read that for me.
Matthew 6 and 31. It reads, take therefore, let me read it again. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed?
Right.
Verse 32, it says, for all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things.
Right, man. We got to understand, man. We got to stop worrying so much. You know what worrying ends up manifesting as? Sin, right? Because you start worrying like the who? Like the Gentiles, right? We start worrying like the Gentiles. Oh, I'll do anything for a check. Hey, man, I don't know how I'm going to keep the lights on, so I got to work on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? For that check. You start what's the word I'm looking for? You start compromising. Right? You start compromising because you start worrying. And we went over that over the this past weekend. I'm gonna bring that passage up too. But you start compromising, man, and it leads you to do sinful things because of you worrying, right? Think about it. Judas, right? Judas, 30 shekels of what? It wasn't even gold, it was a silver, I think. You know what I'm saying? 30 shekels. A lot of them decisions he made because he was worrying. You know, one, he was worrying if people caught him rolling around with this guy named Christ. Two, he was probably worrying about, hey man, I'm broke. You know, this guy that I'm rolling with, he done made me sell all my things. What if he ain't the Messiah and I'm just out here broke looking crazy? I need some money, right? And it's not written in the book, but you know, it's just simple, just life situations, right? A lot of times worrying will put you in a sinful state, right? Let me go to 1 Timothy first.
Yeah, man. A lot of times, man, it's really just, you know, a lack of faith is really just doubt. You know what I'm saying? And you really just don't trust in the Most High. That's what it come down to. When you willing, when you praying for something and you kind of wavering, you don't really think the Most High can do it, and then you take matters in your own hands. So it's like it's really just you lacking doubt is really just a lack of faith. You really don't trust in the Most High, man. And we shouldn't be like that, as Israelites, because we know who our God is. We shouldn't be lacking faith and don't knowing that the Most High gonna come through. The heathen should, right? Because this is not their God. But we should never have that mindset of we feel like we have to take things in our own hands. We should never even think like that when we have a true living God that's on our side, man.
Come on, man. 1 Timothy 6:6.
Come on. 1 Timothy 6:6. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
Right. You got godliness and you're content. Man, that's great gain. What's the gain that it's talking about? The same gain that the Edomite at the beginning of this video was talking about, right? That beat everything at the end was those that have peace. When you get content, when you're finally content, right? It brings you peace. Next verse.
Come on. Verse 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out.
Can't take nothing with you, right? Next verse.
Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content.
Contentment is living in the moment, looking out and saying, now a lot of people can't say this, but a lot of people can. When you can, take a deep breath in at the end of the day and say, hey, I'm not hungry. I got clothes and I got shelter. That's all I need for this. At that moment, that's all you need in the moment, right? Live in the moment and you'll understand that contentment is great gain. You know what I'm saying? Everything else, man, is vanity, right? Anything that you might want in the future, you want to enhance, because a lot of times it's not the fact that we want a house, we want a better one. It's not the fact that we want a vehicle, we want a bigger one. You know what I'm saying? It's not the fact that we don't have clothes, we just want better clothes. A lot of times, we eat too much and we just think about the next meal. We just ate tonight, but I'm already thinking ahead of what we're gonna eat tomorrow. Being content in the moment, man, is great gain. Living that peace in the moment, right? And you'll be more thankful, more grateful at that as well. You know what I'm saying?
It's a like it. Oh, go ahead.
You good?
I was just gonna say, man, it's a like it, man. Even I remember sometimes it comes like I'm eating some food, right? And then I'm already, while I'm eating the food good, I'm already thinking about getting another plate after when I'm still eating the food. But sometimes I catch myself and be like, hold on, you know what? It's still a lot on my plate. Let me enjoy this, what I got. So,
right, man.
Brother thinking, hey, I hope nobody else is thinking the same way, because I'm trying to get there before somebody else take it.
Yeah, man, trying to get the last piece of chicken.
Now you eating fast as heck, trying to get done with your portion so you can go back and get seconds. And when you get the seconds, man, you really not even hungry for real.
You ain't even really hungry.
And you know what that does when you're not content, man? If it consequently you don't get to enjoy what you have, right? Whether that be a person in your life or something material, you don't get to enjoy it. And I was gonna say earlier, I gotta catch myself, because like you said, it's stuff that we already have and we just want something a little better or newer, right? We get addicted, that dopamine rush, we get addicted to buying stuff that's new. Oh, I want a new rain jacket. Bro, I already got one. I want some new boots. I already got boots. I want some new running shoes, man. I need some new running shoes. Then you start convincing yourself why you need it. But it's like, no, you don't need it. You already got something that's serving a purpose for that. And that's, what we got to learn to be content with, because ultimately we're too grown to be worried about what somebody else think about our life and trying to impress anybody. So we should just be content with what we got. Especially
in this truth. You know what I'm saying? When our bodies are not our own, our lives ain't our own, right? A lot of times that's what's wrong with a lot of Israel, is that we are out here and we're doing a lot of things to be seen of men, right? Like the brother Obadiah was going into last night. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like he said, it's not us that's making changes in people's lives. It's the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes we got to get up out of ourselves and understand. One thing I understand as I got older was that nobody cares, right? You think somebody's gonna care, and when you get that new vehicle, and that's why back in the day, I used to, kind of do little subtle flexes. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe post it on my Instagram or something like that. Every time I thought I got something new, I stopped posting things. I stopped, brothers know I tuck my chain every day. You know what I'm saying? I contemplated untucking it the other day, but ultimately I tuck it in. Why? Because don't nobody really care. The things that you do is really for yourself. Because a brother that I see every day, he can go buy a 2025 F250, the same color I wanted. But when he get it, I don't care that he has it. Why? Because it doesn't affect me. I don't get to drive it. So when you think of that mindset, think about it in reverse. When you get something, don't nobody really care about what you got, right? And if they do, 9 times out of 10, they kind of envious or they consider it covetousness, what we're about to read. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you get something new, you should have in the mindset of nobody really cares. Because you don't really care about the upcomings of those around you for real, because it really has no effect in your life. Now, when I say that, man, take it with a grain of salt. Of course, you can be happy for people around you. I'm not saying that you can't be happy and proud for folks, right? What I'm saying is that it's only to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Brothers out here flexing the same thing every single brother bought a new pair of shades and he flexing it every day, bro. It was cloudy with a chance of rain all day today. What do you have your shades on for? What you got your shades around your neck for? You know what I'm saying? You flexing. Don't nobody really care about your shades, brother. You know what I'm saying? Brother done got 2 or 3 chains. Like people getting chains with they camp name on it and whatnot. Like, bro, I'm not in your camp. Am I supposed to be impressed by that? I can't wear it. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I think, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I think. And that thinking kind of keeps me content too, as well. But this is Luke 12 and 15.
Luke 12 and 15, and it reads, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness. Beware of covetousness, right? For a man's life consisteth not in abundance of things which he possesseth.
Right, man. Your life is not amounted to a dollar sign. Brothers, kind of say like, hey, man, I'm trying to I want to be a 6-figure nigga. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get to 6 figures, now you want to make 200,000. And then once you get to 200,000, now you want to make $1 million. And it just never stops, right? But people don't understand, like, it don't matter how much money you have. If you're corny, you're going to be corny, right? If you cringy, you're going to be cringy. If you stingy, you're going to be stingy. You know what I'm saying? That's how because people look at your character. David had immaculate character. That's why people reverenced him and respected him. Not because he was a king. It's because he had the characteristics about him that made his kingship even better. You see what I'm saying? It's all about your character. It's not about what you possess. But a lot of people, especially now in 2025, thinks it's about your possessions. And possessions don't always got to be material things. Sometimes your possessions can be how many brothers I got in my camp, how many brothers I'm lord over, how many wives I got, right? How many kids I got. You know what I'm saying? All these things you can't take with you. You know what I'm saying? All these things, you got X amount of brothers in your camp. You don't. I think Sirach talks about this, right? But you got X amount of brothers in your camp. You got X amount of wives. You got X amount of kids. But it counts for nothing if they all wicked. Brother, you got 4 wives, 3 of them wicked as heck. It don't count for nothing. Yeah, y'all taking pictures and you making it seem like you got it going on Instagram. But, when stuff start coming to the light, now people seeing like, oh, it really wasn't what it looked like. Brother had 3 wicked wives, and then 3 wicked wives, they all left him. So now he only got 1. You know what I'm saying? Brother,
yeah,
brother has all these brothers in his camp, but most of the brothers going to the strip club, right? Brother, you got 10 kids, you got 10 sons, but they all grew up to be killers and robbers. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So the possessions we gotta stop boasting in. You know what I'm saying? That chain can get snatched, that car can get wrecked. I just gave a testimony at the beginning of this lesson. Anything that you have can go to ruin, right? But it's all about your character. That's what people are gonna remember when you leave. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, the advice to not be so gaudy and flashy and high-minded is good because it draws a line in the sand. You could tell who's who, right? If somebody, right, you could tell if somebody's been there or if they're faking it or they're just arriving. But also, if somebody is, always bragging about how many wives he got, 9 times out of 10, back at home, it's not the best situation. If a brother or a sister is always bragging about the car that they drive, 9 times out of 10, it got some problems. They just not letting you know. For example, like a lot of these Tesla folk, they know their cars be having malfunctions and stuff. They ain't gonna let you know that though, right? But they gonna always let you know, yeah, I love my Tesla, man. I might get me another one. Right? Somebody always talking about the dog that they got. 9 times out of 10, that dog don't listen to them. They always, so if somebody's always talking about something, bro, that they have or they possess, they're always talking about, like the brother Denal said, their congregation or their church. 9 times out of 10, some drama going on. They're not going to let you know the ugly, but they're going to always let you know something that they're proud of, right? But the person that don't say nothing, right? I believe the scriptures say something about a fool that holds his lips is counted as wise. You're going to be more wise when you don't say nothing. That way, when a brother come and be like, dang, when you get that vehicle, I didn't know you got a new vehicle. And it is what it is. He know that you're a humble person. Dang, when you get that, that's whatever, He know you're a humble person, right? You counted wise when you don't talk about something, bro. That wisdom is given over and over and over and over again in the Bible, right? But I yield.
Man. Mighty point, man. This is, man, more. And in the Bible say, man, blessed is the meek, right? It pays off to be humble, man, regardless of anything, because when you're humble, when you take that middle ground, that content road, if you get brought down, people ain't laughing at you, right? When you get brought down, it's not a big thing, it's not a big scene, it doesn't cause a big commotion. When you get pulled up, right? You got more people rooting for you because you was that humble meek guy. You see what I'm saying? So it's a safe bet to be like the brothers are saying and just take the humble road. This is Proverbs 30:8. This is the last little passage I got, right? We're gonna read it in 9.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 30, verse 8. It says, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me.
Right, man. Feed me with food convenient for me. Don't make me too rich. And we went over this last on the street last week, right? Don't make me too rich. Don't make me too poor. There's more on this, I think, right? Verse number 9.
Verse 9, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain.
Right. Lest I be too full. Lest I be too high, man. And I deny you, saying, who's the Lord? You ever see somebody rich, man? And they just start talking out their neck, man. It's like, especially the people in the truth, they touching some money now. And you just kind of listen to them talk, and it's like, dang, brother, you even hear what's coming out your mouth? You acting like the Lord not in control, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you can see this with people in professions like lawyers and judges and doctors, right? People that think they have people's lives in their hands, right? And they'll say stuff like, God, I am God. I got the power to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens when you're too full, when you're too high, you got too much money, you got too much things going on. You can buy whatever you want. You feel like you can control outcomes in your life, in situations in your life, right? And you forget who the Lord is, that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. The Lord can make a poor man rich, right? At the drop of a dime. You forget this. He said, don't let me be poor, because I'll steal and take your name in vain. What does it mean by taking his name in vain? By stealing? Because you're saying by taking on his name, you're saying that I trust you, Lord. And if you steal, you're saying, hey, look, I'm not really trusting that you're gonna feed me tonight, so I'm gonna have to go steal this. I'm gonna have to go steal this food, right? It shows a lack of trust, and so you take his name in vain by doing so. So don't you want to be a place where and it's a strong prayer to pray, right? Because if you get it, there's always going to be temptation. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me poverty, don't give me riches. And he put you in that middle ground. You keep thinking like, I kind of want more. Right? But you got to be able to be content with that middle ground. Like, yeah, I could be rolling nice, man, living in a 5-bedroom house, on 35 acres. You know what I'm saying? You content where you at, because you know what comes with all of that too. A lot of temptation, and what comes with, and that comes on both sides, being rich and being poor. A lot of temptations, and a lot of them are not good. A lot of them comes with what sinful deeds. So you want to be in that middle ground. It's going to keep you honest. It's going to keep you guarded. Right. That's all I got. Any brothers got any other precepts?
I got one. Can you go to James chapter 4?
James.
Samaj. You can start at verse 1. And it reads, James 4, starting at 1, it says, from whence come wars and fightings among you? Come not they hence, even of your lust that war in your members? Verse 2, ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. Ye fight in war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. Right? Now some would read that and kind of parallel it with Matthew 7:7, ask and you shall receive. But the way that you got to kind of think about it is like this. Verse 3, it says, ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. Right? So sometimes, like the sister put in the chat, people desire to have this God complex. And that's why we don't receive the things that we want and truly desire, because again, sometimes the Lord don't give it to you because he give it to you and he know that you're not going to do right by it. Just like one of the brothers, I don't know which brother posted it on the camp page on IG last night, but said, sometimes you got to think maybe the Lord is probably somebody that don't want something that probably deserves it the most, and not from a sense of, if you don't want to not enter into the kingdom of heaven and not go into the lake of fire, you probably deserve the lake of fire the most. Not in that sense, but in the sense of sometimes people desire things, right, in this world and they don't receive them. But the people who's always desiring them and chasing them, right, a lot of times, even in movies, you see it be the person that you least expected to get the blessing that so-and-so desired, right? It was the same thing in the movie Crossover, where the brother Anthony Mackie was playing in the movie with the brother, I forgot his name, but nonetheless, Anthony Mackie wanted to go to the league. He wanted to go to college and hoop. That was his dream. But his friend was the one who really had the gift. And Anthony Mackie said, man, it makes me mad because you got the gift and you don't want it, but I do, right? But that's because, again, who knows? Maybe the Lord said he'll get this gift and then he'll start going into all manner of folly and madness, And it's the same thing with us. That's why it's good to know that whatever the Lord does choose to give us, we just have to learn how to find a way to be happy with what he gives us. The brother Denal said it on the live last night. We got to find that sustainability, in all things, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have the biggest house, if you got 4 or 5 trucks. The brothers know. I always say, man, my dream truck is a Ford F450 dually, man. Probably put a 4-inch lift kit on it with them big, you know what I'm saying, beautiful tires and a ranch hand, you know, it gotta have the leather seats. Like, that's what I desire. But let's be real. If the Lord was to give me that right now, would I do right by that? You know, you got to ask yourself those questions. If I get that possession right now, would I really want to come to camp? Or maybe I would want to go to camp even more. I'll probably be the first one at every brother's house when we meet up, just so that way I can show off my truck. Oh no, y'all don't got to worry about driving. I'll drive, you know, just so that way when we pull up downtown, people can see my truck. I'm not even focused on bringing out the word no more, you know? So you got to put things in a perspective, man. We got to learn how to be content with what the Lord gives us. I myself have to do a better job of, not putting my head down and complaining or just praying for more. And sometimes, man, when you go read Matthew 7 and it says you have not because you ask not, right? Or asking you shall receive. Instead of thinking about blessings, materialistic blessings, start asking for wisdom. Start asking for the Lord to give you a sense of, I guess you could say, contentment with the possessions that you have, right? Let's get away from trying to be the big baller shot caller Israelite, and let's start focusing on, asking for an increase in spirit rather than riches on the earth. But with that, I yield. Mighty lesson.
Come, man. That's a mighty point. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know, one, you gotta know yourself, right? But don't nobody know you better than the person who created you. So if he's withholding something for you, just assume that it's for your best, right? And at the end of the day, man, contentment is just like the song J. Cole said, "Love Yours," right? Almost every lyric he said in that song, it rings true, right? There's always going to be something better than what you got, but you ain't never. What he said, you ain't never gonna be what?
You ain't never gonna be happy till you love yours.
Yeah, you ain't never gonna be happy until you love yours, man. That's where that true peace comes in. That's why I named this video, you enjoy life more by doing this. You're gonna enjoy life more by loving yours, by being content, right? You're gonna enjoy life more by being content, and you're gonna find that you find yourself in a more peaceful state of mind, more times than not, right? And so strive for contentment. That's all I got. If any brothers don't have anything else to say, we'll end it right there. Giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, by way of his only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation, who also let us know if we're not helping to gather, we're helping to scatter, right? If you ain't doing nothing, we don't need you, right? And so, hey, take it how you want. There's no room here for lukewarmness. If you want to be lukewarm, you're pretty much on the other side, right? But we'll see you guys next time. Shalom.
Shalom.